Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people seem to attract opportunities, success, and even love with almost supernatural ease, while others are constantly chasing and never quite getting there? No, it's not luck. And it's not just about hard work either. The truth, the one no one's ever clearly told you, is that everything you manifest starts with one thing: the frequency you're vibrating at. And yes, it has everything to do with spirituality, science, and the way you think and feel every single day. Bob Proctor, one of the greatest authorities on manifestation and personal growth, revealed that the universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. Controversial? Maybe. But absolutely life-changing. The problem is, most people live on autopilot, repeating old patterns and expecting different results. But here's the shift: change your vibration and you change everything faster than you think. In this video, you're going to learn how to align your thoughts and emotions with the reality you want, using the concepts of frequency and vibration in a way that's simple, practical, and easy to apply. And the best part? You don't need to understand quantum physics to make this work. You just need to know how to access the right field, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you now. A lot of people never even come close to achieving their dreams for one simple reason: they don't truly believe they can. And that's where Bob Proctor comes in, like a mentor shaking you by the shoulders and saying, "Hey, have you ever actually stopped to think about what you really want?" Sounds simple, but it's not. Most people have vague wishes, lost in the chaos of everyday life. But when you sit down, take a deep breath, and write out exactly what you want, with vivid detail as if it's already real, you trigger a powerful starting point for manifestation. It's like setting your destination in life's GPS. That clarity isn't just about setting goals, it's about tuning your frequency. This is where science and spirituality meet, at the intersection of thought and emotion. When you visualize your goal with gratitude as if it's already yours, your brain begins to rewire your body, your mind, and yes, even your energy. And this isn't fluffy self-help talk, it's grounded in neuroscience and ancient wisdom. The key is to feel. Feel as if it's already a part of your life. That changes everything. Want a practical example? Grab a notebook and write, "I'm so happy and grateful now that I've achieved your goal." Repeat it daily. Feel it. Bob always said, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And even though it sounds like something you'd read on Instagram, it's actually a roadmap. What? Because your brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So when you use meditation to dive into your inner reality every day, the outer world starts to shift on its own. That's when affirmations come to life. They're no longer just words. They become mental commands, deep programming that rewrites limiting beliefs you've carried since childhood. Now here's the game changer. You don't need to know how it will all happen. And this is where most people trip up. They wait for the perfect plan, the right opportunity to fall into their lap, the motivation to magically appear. But it doesn't work like that. The decision comes before the path. Bob often quoted Wernher von Braun, saying that the principle behind manifestation is faith, not blind faith, but that unshakable inner certainty that moves mountains. When you decide with conviction, your frequency shifts. And when your frequency shifts, guess what? You start attracting everything that matches it. And here's where the magic happens. Once you decide, the universe really does begin to align. People, ideas, opportunities, even coincidences start showing up. Spirituality starts showing up in your everyday life through synchronicities you couldn't explain logically. But it all started with one step: the decision. So now that you know this, is anything really just a coincidence? Or is there a greater intelligence behind it all? Well, the next insight will make that even clearer. Some people think life is a game of luck, like success, happiness, or money just fall from the sky, reserved for a lucky few. But the truth is something else entirely. Everything operates under laws. Invisible laws, yes, but just as real as gravity. Bob Proctor was crystal clear about this. The universe is precise, like a cosmic clock, where everything moves in harmony according to exact rules. When you understand those laws, you start playing the game of life with an advantage. It's not about praying for a miracle and waiting around. It's about understanding the mechanics behind everything and aligning your mind and actions to work in your favor. Just look around. The seasons change, the sun rises, nature renews itself, without fail. That's not coincidence, it's order. In the same way, the laws of manifestation, vibration, and spirituality are always active, whether you're aware of them or not. The difference is, once you become conscious of them, you can start using them with intention. Gratitude, for example, is a powerful energetic law. When you give thanks before you receive, you're sending a vibrational signal to the universe: I already have this. And the universe? It responds. It doesn't judge, only obeys the vibrational command you're putting out. The law of manifestation, often talked about and sometimes misunderstood, is not magic. It's energetic science. It's quantum physics aligned with spirituality. Your thoughts emit a frequency, your emotions reinforce that vibration, and your physical reality organizes itself accordingly. That's why practices like meditation and mindfulness are so powerful, because they quiet the noise and help you align thought, feeling, and action. It's like tuning into a radio station. You only hear the music when you're on the right frequency. The problem is, most people are trying to hear jazz while tuned into rock. And of course, it all feels confusing. Want a practical tip? Spend the next 7 days observing which laws you're already following, whether you realize it or not. Are you more tuned into scarcity or abundance? Is your energy aligned with fear or with trust? Are you resisting life or flowing with it? Start making daily affirmations, even something simple like, I cooperate with the laws of the universe and manifest the life I desire. That small act of repetition starts to shift your mindset and your frequency. And soon enough, you'll notice your reality shifting along with it. All of this leads to a fascinating point that Bob always emphasized. Even if you ignore these laws, they're still working. Just like gravity doesn't need your belief to function, universal laws don't need your permission to influence your life. The difference lies in the power you gain once you choose to understand them. And that, my friend, changes everything. Because that's when you stop being a passenger and take the wheel. And speaking of taking control, there's something else that separates dreamers from doers, and it's directly tied to how we've been taught to learn. Most people living on autopilot have no idea they're stuck inside a bubble called unconscious incompetence. They don't know what they don't know. And the craziest part? They think they're in control. Bob Proctor used to say this is the first stage of transformation, the moment when someone blindly repeats patterns without realizing it. But the moment they wake up and start asking questions, they enter the next stage, conscious incompetence. That's when everything starts to shift. It's like turning on the light in a messy room. It's uncomfortable but necessary. This is where spirituality comes in, because that kind of clarity takes emotional courage. And this is when meditation and mindfulness become essential allies. Bob himself shared how, before meeting Ray Stanford, he was drowning in debt, directionless, and completely unaware that another way of living even existed. It wasn't until he began studying Think and Grow Rich that his world expanded. He stopped merely existing and started living intentionally. That kind of shift only happens when someone chooses to learn consciously, to understand how the mind works, how daily affirmations impact the subconscious, how visualization holds hidden power. Once someone realizes they can reshape their paradigms, they move from reactive to creative. And that shift may be subtle, but it changes everything. It begins within, and the outer world simply follows. Now, making the leap to conscious competence takes discipline. This is the stage where you know what to do but still need to apply it with focused effort. This is where daily practice comes in, waking up early to meditate, writing out affirmations with intention, visualizing your ideal life with deep gratitude. It's not magic, it's method. Bob always said results come to those who treat personal development as a lifestyle, not a hobby. A practical example? Create a morning ritual, 5 minutes of deep breathing, 3 affirmations spoken aloud, and a clear visualization of your ideal day. This not only programs the subconscious, it aligns body, mind, and heart with your new frequency. With time and repetition, that competence becomes unconscious. You no longer need to think about staying in alignment with your goals, you simply are. That's the final stage of mastery. It's when spirituality, manifestation, gratitude, and focus are so integrated that success becomes inevitable. And let's be clear, it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Bob called this living in harmony with the laws of the universe. When that happens, your personal vibration shifts. Opportunities flow. Relationships align. And money? It shows up as a natural reflection of your new internal state. But to get there, you first have to embrace the fact that conscious learning is a process, a journey, not a jump. And often, it all starts with one single act of decision, choosing to seek knowledge even if you're not sure where it's going to lead. That's how Bob started. That's how most people awaken to a new life. Because once you understand the power of intentional study, it becomes impossible to go back to living on autopilot. And since we're talking about learning and conscious change, we have to dive into one of the most misunderstood topics for those who seek prosperity: money. Most people grew up hearing things like, money is dirty, rich people are dishonest, or money doesn't bring happiness. And without realizing it, they block their own abundance. Bob Proctor dismantled this mindset by showing that money at its core is simply a tool of exchange. It has no moral value of its own, it simply amplifies who you already are. If you're generous, you'll give more. If you're creative, you'll expand your projects. And if you're bitter, well, you get the idea. Financial manifestation starts with clarity and neutrality about what money really represents. Freedom, impact, resources, and choices. Spirituality and wealth can, and should, go hand in hand. The key is understanding that money doesn't come just from physical effort. It comes from value. And value is born from ideas, solutions, and service. Bob always emphasized, you're paid for the value you provide, not the time you spend. That changes everything. Instead of working harder, you start thinking smarter. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful tools in this process. They unlock creativity, surface hidden ideas, and connect you to solutions that were buried beneath anxiety. A calm mind sees opportunity. A restless mind sees only problems. Gratitude, in particular, aligns you with the frequency of abundance and creates a magnetic field for prosperity. If you want to put this into practice, start by listing your skills and asking, how can this solve a real problem for someone? Turn that into a product or service. Could be coaching, art, design, content creation, cooking, anything. Then price it with awareness. Remember, you're not selling time, you're delivering transformation. As you do this, reinforce your mindset with affirmations like, I receive gratefully for all the value I provide, or my work changes lives and rewards me with abundance. Your subconscious responds to these declarations with new behaviors, new ideas, and new results. Changing your relationship with money also means watching your own judgments. That automatic thought when you see someone driving a luxury car or dining at a high-end restaurant. That's a mirror. Bob used to say that criticizing someone else's prosperity is a one-way ticket to scarcity. Instead, celebrate it, bless it, admire it. That's spirituality in action. It's living with a heart open to receive, without sabotage disguised as morality. And of course, keep your energy clean, because money, like everything else in the universe, responds to your vibration. And if you're vibrating scarcity, guess what comes back? Here's the bottom line. Money isn't the villain. The real issue is ignorance about how it works. Bob would say money doesn't change people, it reveals them. So instead of running from it, why not embrace the opportunity to learn, grow, and prosper with integrity? When you understand money as a channel for manifestation, it stops being a burden and becomes a tool. And that opens the door to a kind of freedom that goes far beyond your bank account. So if financial freedom starts with awareness, maybe it's time to take it one step further and understand why it's essential to living a truly fulfilling life. Financial freedom isn't about swimming in rivers of cash, it's about having choices. It's waking up and deciding how to spend your time without being a slave to bills. Bob Proctor used to say, without financial freedom, you're never truly free. Sounds harsh, right? But it's the truth. How many important decisions do people postpone just because of money? How many passions get shelved? How many talents are stifled? Once you understand this, the pursuit of financial literacy becomes more than just making more money. It becomes a journey of spirituality and self-liberation. It's a way of honoring your full potential. And here's the thing, school never taught us this. We memorized the periodic table but never learned how to manage a credit card. Proctor saw this as a structural failure, which is why he strongly advocated for ongoing education about money, abundance, universal laws, and of course spirituality. Books like Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, The Richest Man in Babylon, and Think and Grow Rich should be on everyone's nightstand. They teach what traditional systems overlook: how to change your emotional relationship with money and use affirmations and visualization to shape a new reality. Now here's something powerful. Real financial literacy starts with self-awareness. It's not just about spreadsheets and budgets, it's about understanding what money means to you. Is it safety? Freedom? Power? Well, that meaning shapes how you handle it. And if you've got hidden limiting beliefs around money, guess what? You can work through that with mindfulness and meditation. Visualizing a life of freedom, repeating prosperity affirmations, and feeling deep gratitude, all of that shifts your vibration and begins to attract new opportunities, even unexpected streams of income. It's all too common to see people living paycheck to paycheck, stuck in survival mode, not realizing there's another way. Bob shattered that illusion, showing that anyone can break free, if they're willing to learn. He taught that freedom starts with a decision and continues with discipline. It's not about winning the lottery, it's about building something. Practical step? Set aside 10% of everything you earn to invest in yourself. Books, courses, mentors. That small habit, repeated over time, becomes your foundation. And when you combine that with gratitude and clear intention, money starts working for you. You can't talk about freedom without talking about vibration. Because real freedom doesn't start in your bank account, it starts in your mind. When the mind believes it's possible, it unlocks the doors to manifestation. Bob always said, you don't need to know how. You just need to decide. And a firm decision to be free, to study, to grow, and to connect with the spirituality of abundance changes everything. And that leads to a powerful question. If we all have a spiritual DNA full of potential, why do most people live so far below it? There's something inside you that goes far beyond flesh, bones, or even thoughts. Bob Proctor called it your spiritual DNA, and the idea behind it is incredibly powerful. You were born with everything you need to live an extraordinary life. This isn't just feel-good motivation, it's science with soul. The problem? Most people never tap into this potential because they're disconnected from their own essence. They live on autopilot, ignoring the mental faculties that matter most. Imagination, intuition, perception, memory, reason, and will. Mastering these inner forces is like finding the key to unlock the vault of manifestation. From a young age, we're taught to follow external rules, but we're rarely encouraged to look within. And that's where the real treasure is. Bob taught that the universe is mental, and when you develop self-awareness, you begin to operate on a higher frequency. It's like tuning into an invisible but powerful radio station. Meditation, mindfulness, and visualization become tools to access what he called inner wisdom. It's not about acquiring power, it's about remembering that you already have it. You just need to activate it. Want a practical example? Close your eyes for a few minutes and visualize the highest version of yourself. How do you speak? How do you walk? Who are you surrounded by? Now, repeat affirmations that reinforce that identity. I am guided by a higher intelligence. I manifest with clarity and purpose. Do this for 21 consecutive days right after a light meditation. What happens? Your vibration starts to shift. And with it, everything around you. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. When you embody your spiritual DNA, external signs start lining up like magic. This DNA isn't out of reach. It's alive within you, waiting for a command, an intention, a moment of courage. Intuition is one of its clearest voices, that whisper that says, go this way, even when the world says otherwise. Bob was living proof of this. Many of his biggest decisions didn't come from logic, but from this spiritual intelligence. And he believed we all have access to the same power. The only difference between those who use it and those who don't is the level of awareness. And awareness is something you train, day after day. That's why the mission isn't to seek more technical knowledge, but to access what's already yours by nature. When you understand that you carry a divine spark, the same intelligence that moves the planets, everything changes. Fear loses power, doubt goes quiet, and the field of manifestation expands. But here's the turning point. That connection only strengthens when you realize that everything vibrates. Yes, absolutely everything, your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and of course, your choices. And that brings us to the next principle Bob Proctor talked about so often: frequencies and vibrations. Everything in the universe vibrates. That's not just a poetic idea, it's pure physics. Bob Proctor repeated it over and over: you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Sounds simple, but it reveals one of the most powerful laws of manifestation. Every thought you nurture, every emotion you feel, emits a frequency. And like a living magnet, you attract whatever matches that frequency. In other words, if your mind is constantly focused on lack, even while desiring abundance, what shows up is more lack. Spiritual teachings have said this for centuries, and now science confirms it. It's like tuning a radio. If you want to hear jazz but you're on a heavy metal station, there's no use complaining about the music. Life works the same way. The frequency you emit is the station you're tuned to, and it determines what you experience, how you feel, and what shows up. The secret lies in adjusting your frequency from the inside out. Tools like meditation, visualization, and daily affirmations act like tuning knobs. They train your mind and heart to vibrate on a higher level: gratitude, love, peace, and that's when the miracles start happening. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Write out what your ideal day would look like in your dream life. Then read it out loud every day right after meditating. As you read, feel it as if it's already happening. Your mind can't tell the difference between something real and something vividly imagined, and that trick activates a vibration that aligns with the life you want to manifest. Bob called this acting as if. When your frequency shifts, your perception shifts, and what once seemed impossible starts to feel inevitable. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to attract great opportunities, amazing friendships, financial flow, and doors opening everywhere? It's not luck. It's vibration. They've become masters at keeping their minds and hearts in a high state. That doesn't mean they never face challenges. It means they don't let those challenges consume them. They choose to return to the frequency of solutions, not problems. And that conscious daily choice is what separates an average life from an extraordinary one. And here's the key: frequency isn't something you have, it's something you practice. You can be in a low state one moment and elevate it the next, if you know how. Techniques like mindfulness, walking consciously in nature, listening to uplifting music, or even practicing breath work are all ways to align your energy field. Once you master this, you realize that your results aren't random or based on luck. They're a mirror of your inner vibration. And when you learn how to read that reflection, you also learn how to change it. But it all starts by understanding that your results are simply the echo of the frequency you choose, and that's exactly what we'll dive into next. Your outer world is nothing more than a snapshot of what's happening on the inside. Bob Proctor used to say, if you want to know what frequency you're vibrating at, just look at your results. They don't lie. If your bank account is always in the red, if your relationships feel distant, if you feel stuck, that's not bad luck. It's a reflection of your internal state. And yes, that can be tough to hear. But it's also incredibly freeing, because it means that when you shift internally, everything around you starts to shift too. That's where true spirituality begins, transforming from the inside out. A lot of people try to change their results by doing more, running themselves into the ground trying to make things happen. But taking action without first aligning your internal frequency is like paddling upstream. You might be working hard, but you'll tire yourself out and stay in the same spot. Real manifestation begins with inner alignment. Meditation, affirmations, and visualization aren't just feel-good practices. They're practical tools for changing your emotional state. And when your frequency shifts, your energy starts to attract circumstances that match. Want a clear example? Picture someone looking for a job who deep down feels insecure, frustrated, and full of self-doubt. Even if they send out dozens of resumes, their energy is vibrating scarcity. Now imagine that same person using affirmations like, I am capable, the universe is working in my favor, visualizing their ideal workplace and feeling gratitude even before getting hired. What changes? Everything. Because now they're aligned with the frequency of what they want. The best part? This kind of shift doesn't take years. It starts with a clear decision followed by small, consistent practices. Bob always said, a changed life begins with a changed idea. If your current results are frustrating, don't fight them. See them as messengers. They're showing you where your vibration needs to rise. Instead of beating yourself up, ask, what inside me is aligned with the results I'm getting? Then start adjusting what you feel, what you think, and what you believe. And here's something most people completely miss. The frequency you're emitting right now is already shaping what's going to happen days, weeks, or even months from now. Your future is being programmed today, through your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. That's why reprogramming your mind with new ideas and feelings isn't a luxury. It's a necessity if you want to create a life that truly reflects your potential. But to make that reprogramming stick, to truly rewrite your story, you have to go deeper than the conscious mind. You need to access the root of your paradigm. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. You know that autopilot mode that seems to run most of your day-to-day decisions? That's your paradigm quietly pulling the strings. Bob Proctor explained that a paradigm is a set of deeply rooted beliefs and habits lodged in your subconscious, and it's what ultimately determines the quality of your life. You can't expect extraordinary results while running the same mental software that created scarcity. Real change requires the courage to look within. That's where self-awareness comes in, the power to observe your thoughts, emotions, and patterns without judgment, but with the clear intention to rewrite them. Most people try to change their lives by shifting only the surface. A new job, a new relationship, a new city. But if the old paradigm is still in charge behind the scenes, everything ends up back where it started. It's like changing the wallpaper on a computer full of viruses. It may look better, but it's still crashing on the inside. The only way to break that cycle is to become conscious of the loops you're repeating without realizing it. And that's done through practices like meditation, journaling, mindfulness, and powerful affirmations. Bob used to say, you don't have to know how to change the world. You just need to change your inner world. And that starts by identifying the limiting paradigms that keep you stuck. Do you feel like money is hard to earn? That success isn't meant for you? That you're never good enough? Those recurring thoughts are clues to your paradigm. Once you become aware of them, you begin to weaken their grip. With every repetition of a new belief, a new neural pathway begins to form, and over time, it becomes the new default route of your mind. But here's the thing, changing a paradigm isn't a one-and-done deal. It's like replacing a well-worn trail with a brand new path, tough at first but easier with practice. The key is repetition plus emotion. That's why combining visualization with elevated feelings like gratitude speeds things up. Feel what you want to experience deep in your chest. Feel it as if it's already real. Repeat that daily. This way, the new pattern begins to replace the old one, and your reality starts shifting to match your new frequency. And once that new paradigm is in place, what used to seem impossible starts flowing with ease. You're no longer forcing things, you're attracting them. You stop sabotaging yourself, and start working with yourself. That's when a new identity is born, ready to write a brand new story. But stepping into that new role takes more than awareness. It takes a decision. A decision to stop playing the side character in your own life, and become the main one. And that's exactly what we're diving into next. Some people live as extras in their own story, always waiting for someone to save them, guide them, or validate them. But the truth is, no one's going to hand you the leading role unless you step up and claim the script. Bob Proctor emphasized this with conviction. Either you direct your own movie, or you'll be pushed around in the background of someone else's life. Being the protagonist isn't about having total control, it's about conscious responsibility. It means choosing your thoughts, aligning your emotions, and setting the tone of your journey, even in the face of uncertainty. The movie metaphor is powerful because it reveals something simple. Your mind is the projector. Everything you see in your outer world started as an inner script. Thoughts, beliefs, visualizations, affirmations. Want to change the plot? Rewrite the mental script. Draft new scenes, bolder ones aligned with who you want to become. Imagine your life as an award-winning film. How would you carry yourself? What kinds of decisions would you make? Who would be in your circle? How would you handle challenges? Practice this daily until your mind starts stepping into that new role naturally. Bob used to say, "You are not the victim of circumstances, you are the creator of them." Sounds intense, right? But it makes perfect sense when you realize that life reflects your vibration. And when you vibrate as a protagonist, you attract opportunities that match that energy. Spiritual practices, meditation, and mindfulness help you tap into that more conscious version of yourself. Once you start seeing yourself clearly, you begin making choices that align with your purpose. And the universe, it responds fast. Now, let's be real, being the protagonist doesn't mean living in a fairy tale. It means facing your fears, healing from the past, learning from your failures, and moving forward with courage. It's having the humility to admit when something needs to change, and the strength to stay committed to your role. Protagonists mess up, but they always return to the center stage. They don't outsource their growth. Yes, it takes work, but it also brings purpose, power, and peace. Because once you see yourself as the author of your life, everything changes. And do you want to know the most powerful starting point? Study. Bob Proctor transformed his life by diving into knowledge. He studied, applied, adjusted, and started over again. And that kind of transformation, the kind that begins with a page, a thought, a decision, is exactly what we'll explore in the next step of this journey. There's a quiet turning point that separates dreamers from doers: study. And we're not just talking about school, diplomas, or academic degrees. We're talking about intentional study, the kind that transforms the mind and recalibrates the soul. Bob Proctor was living proof of this. When he got his hands on Think and Grow Rich, his life flipped 180 degrees. At the time, he was deep in debt, lost, and without direction. But he made a decision to dive into that content day after day until it made sense not just in his head but in his heart too. True study is what becomes practice. It's when you read something, reflect on it, apply it, stumble, adjust, and then return to the text with a new perspective. Bob used to say he read the same chapter hundreds of times. Sounds extreme? It's not. He believed, repetition is the mother of retention. And he was right. How many times have you read something inspiring, thought it was amazing, and forgot it 2 days later? The secret isn't reading more, it's absorbing deeper. And that, my friend, requires intention and aligned vibrational frequency. Studying is also an act of self-love. It's carving out time to understand how your mind works, how your emotions shape your reality, and how your energetic choices influence everything around you. Meditation, visualization, affirmations, and mindfulness are forms of inner study that, when paired with external knowledge, build a powerful foundation for conscious manifestation. The world may try to distract you with surface-level noise, but those who dive deep into self-knowledge never come back to the surface the same. And here's the thing, you don't have to start by reading 30 books a month. Start with one. Read it slowly. Take notes. Reflect. Apply what you learn. A solid starting point? In addition to the classic Think and Grow Rich, check out The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, or The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. These are books that nourish both mind and soul. Most importantly, they push you into action. Because knowledge without action is just information. But knowledge in motion? That changes everything. And speaking of movement, there's one field that often works against all our studying: the subconscious mind. Your rational mind may understand something, but if your subconscious isn't reprogrammed, your life slips right back into autopilot. That's why in the next step we're going to dive deep into this hidden mechanism, the real difference between the conscious and subconscious mind. Most people believe they make decisions based on logic and reason. But the truth is, 95% of our daily choices come from the subconscious mind. That's where your patterns live, your beliefs, your childhood programming, your "I'm not good enough, and this isn't for me." Bob Proctor used to say, "You don't live what you want. You live what you're programmed for." And if that hits hard, it's because it's true. Your conscious mind analyzes, plans, and decides. But it's the subconscious that runs the show, without question. Think of the subconscious like the autopilot of an airplane. If you don't change the flight plan, you can switch out the passengers, relationships, jobs, goals, but you'll always end up at the same destination. That's why understanding how these two minds work together is the first step to changing your life. The conscious mind is the gatekeeper. It chooses what gets in. But once something enters, is repeated, and gets loaded with emotion, boom, it's stored in the subconscious as a truth. This is where tools like meditation, visualization, mindfulness, and affirmations come in. For example, when you intentionally repeat phrases like, "I am abundant," "I am worthy," "I am capable," with real emotion, your subconscious starts to accept them as your new identity. And no, this isn't just feel-good talk. It's pure neuroscience. The brain creates new neural pathways through repetition and emotional reinforcement. Modern spirituality embraces this as the energetic language of the universe. If you grew up around scarcity, criticism, or fear, chances are your subconscious is still operating on those outdated scripts. But just like learning to ride a bike, you can relearn how to live, this time with awareness. Try this. Every night before bed, repeat empowering affirmations. Say out loud, "My mind is my garden. I choose to plant abundance." Do it for 21 days. You'll begin to notice changes, not just in how you think but in how you feel, act, and attract. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Once you truly understand the power of choice, you start rejecting what no longer serves you. That's when you stop being a puppet of old programs, and step into your role as the conscious creator of your reality. And that brings us to the next key, the real power of deciding what gets in, and what stays out, of your mind. Every human being is born with a divine gift, the power to choose what to think. But here's what most people don't realize, that gift is like a muscle. If you don't use it with intention, it weakens. Bob Proctor emphasized this often: you can accept or reject any idea, but most people just accept everything they hear, see, or feel. It's like leaving your front door wide open and hoping only good things come in. Spoiler, that's not how it works. Choice is the first line of defense for your conscious mind. When you become selective about what you allow in, whether it's a news story, someone's opinion, or even your own automatic thoughts, you begin to take the wheel of your mental ship. And that changes everything. Want a simple example? When someone says, "That's never going to work," make an internal choice to say, "That might not work for them, but it works for me." Small shift, massive impact. Here's the key: what you allow in repeatedly becomes installed. If every day you choose to believe you're not good enough, your subconscious accepts that as truth. But if you choose, even if it feels awkward at first, to think, "I am capable, I am enough, life works in my favor," and you pair that with gratitude and visualization, those affirmations begin to rewire your frequency. Modern spirituality calls this alignment with your higher self. And that's exactly what it is. Picture your mind like an old-school radio. If you're tuned into the fear station, you can't expect abundance music to start playing. You've got to turn the dial. And that's choice. Choosing thoughts, content, conversations, environments, and habits that lift your vibration. To reinforce that, daily meditation and mindfulness practices help you quiet the outside noise and hear your inner wisdom, the one that always knows what your heart truly desires. But here's the twist: this freedom of choice that sounds so obvious? It's often sabotaged by something that was installed way back in childhood. And that, my friend, is one of the deepest roots behind life's biggest blocks. And that's exactly what we'll dive into next. It all starts when we can barely walk, but we're already soaking up the world like a sponge. Bob Proctor used to say that until the age of 7, a child's mind is in a hypnotic state, meaning everything is received as absolute truth. The tone of a parent's voice, the beliefs taught in school, the looks, the you can, and the you can't, all of that goes straight into the subconscious with no filter. And guess what? That's where our self-image is formed. That inner voice that says you're smart, or you're not good enough. It was planted back then. The problem? Most people are still running on the same mental software from childhood, even though they've updated their phone 20 times. They try to manifest wealth, love, success, but they're operating with a self-image that doesn't match what they want. Here's how it shows up. Someone can say affirmations like, I deserve to prosper, but if deep down they still feel like that rejected child, the universe picks up on that frequency and reflects back more lack. Manifestation doesn't respond to empty words, it responds to the vibration behind them. Now for the good news, that old program can be rewritten. Through meditation, intentional visualization, and gratitude practice, it's possible to soften those outdated neural circuits and build new ones. Bob recommended a powerful exercise. Write down a new self-image on paper. Describe in detail how you see yourself as confident, abundant, healthy, and fulfilled. Then read it out loud every day, with emotion. This isn't just spirituality, it's applied neuroscience. And if you want to boost the effect, pair that with high-energy affirmations like, I am enough, I am loved, I am naturally prosperous. The more you feel those words as real, the more your body and mind align with that new identity. And then, little by little, your behavior shifts, your choices shift, and the world starts to respond. Because the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you believe yourself to be. But even with all this reprogramming, there's an even deeper secret, a bolder leap. And it begins the moment you stop trying to fix the old, and start building something entirely new. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Bob Proctor had a simple yet revolutionary philosophy: don't try to fix the old. Create a new model that makes the old obsolete. And let me tell you, that's a total game changer. Most people are so busy trying to patch up broken patterns, heal old wounds, or renovate outdated beliefs, they forget something essential. You can simply build a brand new mental structure. Instead of wrestling with your old programming, it's wiser to design a completely new version of yourself. With new habits, new energy, and a new frequency. This new model of life starts with visualization. Not just any visualization, but one infused with emotion, intention, and detail. Close your eyes and see yourself living the life you truly want. Where do you wake up? How do you feel when you open your eyes? Who are you surrounded by? What fills your day? This practice isn't just spiritual. It's also a form of mindful mental conditioning that activates your brain's reticular activating system, helping you filter and notice opportunities aligned with what you've imagined. Proctor stressed this because the brain craves clear direction. Creating a new model also requires breaking away from old references. That might mean changing your social circle, switching up your information sources, or even letting go of harmless habits that keep you tied to your old identity. It's like planting a new tree, you can't grow it in the same soil choked by old roots. Daily meditation, intentional gratitude, and repeated affirmations like, I'm creating a new standard for my life, help nourish this fresh foundation. And for anyone who thinks this is just motivational talk, here's a real-life example. Bob was a broke janitor with no formal education, and yet he became one of the most respected voices in personal development. He didn't fix the old Bob. He built a new one. Through daily study of Think and Grow Rich, he absorbed new ideas, shifted his frequency, and started living from a new script. One he wrote himself. That's the power of intentional manifestation. And now that you understand it's not only possible, but more effective, to build from scratch, the next question is, how do you actually apply all of this in daily life and align your mind with what you truly want? Well, that's exactly what we'll explore in the next step, where we turn knowledge into real, lasting results. Now that you understand how frequency and vibration shape your reality, the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you let it fade away like just another video you watched? Or will you start applying it and truly begin to manifest the life you desire? Remember, spirituality, meditation, visualization, affirmations, gratitude, and mindfulness aren't just pretty words. They're powerful tools when used with intention and consistency. You don't need to wait for a miracle to happen. You are the miracle. And everything begins the moment you decide to shift your vibration. Today. So, who do you want to become? What kind of reality are you ready to attract? Drop a comment below and share the biggest insight you got from this video. I want to hear from you. And of course, if this content helped you in any way, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because over the next few weeks, I'll be sharing even more strategies to unlock your mind, raise your energy, and build a life where success, health, and fulfilling relationships flow naturally. The journey is just getting started, and you don't want to miss a thing.